In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can set your stop loss in crypto trading like a pro. Now, whether you've been trading crypto for a long time or maybe you just started trading cryptocurrencies, this video is for you because this is the ultimate guide on how to set your stop loss and even your take profit. I'll be adding that in this video, and even your take profit like a professional crypto trader. So if you are serious about learning how to set your stop loss like a pro and even your take profit, then this video is for you. So make sure you watch this video to the end so that you don't miss any information. Now, before I go ahead and show you how to set your take profit or stop loss, let me show you something. Now, look at this trade on the chart. Now, this is an example of a long trade that eventually ended in a loss. Now, if you look at this point right here, this is the entry point. So let me just draw something there so that you guys will be able to see it. So you can see right here, this is the entry point right here. Now, when the trade was entered at this point, it was meant to come and hit the take profit at this point, at this level right here. So let me just draw it again. So this is the level for the take profit. It was meant to come and hit it at this point. But instead, it came to hit our stop loss very early at this point. Now, I'm very sure that all traders, including you watching this video, must have experienced this one way or the other. So it is something that happens a lot in crypto trading, and it is making people lose money in trading. But don't forget, in this video, I'll be showing you the perfect way to set your stop loss and even your take profit. So make sure you keep watching. So what do you need to do, or what are the ways to set your take profit and stop loss in order to avoid this kind of thing happening to you, so that the trade will not cut you out early and then will now end up and go and enter your take profit and you will miss out on that profit? So here's what you need to do. Now, for this example, let me try to use another coin instead of BTC. So let's assume, so let me just change the coin. So I just come to the top left corner right here, and then let's pick another coin. Let's say, okay, let's say ETH/USDT. Let's try that. Okay, so this is the ETH/USDT chart right here. Now, what are the ways to set your stop loss perfectly? Now, the first way is to use your support and resistance. Now, to do this, you first need to draw your support and resistance. And in case you don't know, I already have multiple videos on how to draw support and resistance on my YouTube channel. So in case you've not learned it or you don't know how to do it, or maybe you are new to my channel, I will show you how to do that right now. So let me just go ahead and draw my support and resistance right here. So to draw your support and resistance, so I love to use the rectangle line so much. Sometimes I use the line, but I love the rectangle line. So just select the rectangle line right here, and let's draw our support and resistance in multiple places. So I'll just go ahead and do that. So in case you don't know, your support and resistance lines are where you have multiple rejections in the market. That's the meaning of support and resistance, where you have multiple rejections in the market. That's the meaning. Please don't forget that. And I'll be showing you all the rejections right now. Once I'm done drawing this, I'll show you where you have the multiple rejections on this support and resistance. So I think we're okay with that. Let me just put the last one on top right here. Now, what are these support and resistance, and how was I able to identify this point where you have this support and resistance? Like I said, support and resistance is where you have multiple rejections in the market. Now, for this bottom one right here, where do you have the multiple rejections? Let me show you. So I'll just use this arrow. Let me use this arrow right here. So you can see we have one rejection right here, and then we have two more rejections right here, 1 year, and then we have 1 year. So these are where we have the multiple rejections. Multiple rejections means where the candlesticks bounced back to the opposite direction. That's just the meaning. So if you look at this first one right here, this one right here, you can see that the candlesticks came up. When they got to this area, it's bounced back and went down again. And at this point right here, you can see the candlesticks came down to this point, and at this point, it went back up again. So you can see it. And then at this point again, it came down and touched that same area and went back up. So this means that this point right here, this 3 point, are where you have multiple rejections on this line right here, on this area. I hope you get it. Now, what of the other areas? Let me show you. So you can see for this one right here, for this line right here, this is one rejection. This is another rejection right here, and I think this is one potential rejection right here. So you can see on this point, the candlesticks came up to touch this point and went down again. It came back to touch that same point again and went down again. And then at this point, it came down to this point, and I think it's potentially moving up. I don't know yet, but let's still be looking. So you can see that you have multiple rejections again on this line. What about this one right here? So let me show you this one too. So you can see this is where you have one rejection. You have one rejection right here. You also have one rejection right here. So you can see the candlesticks came up to this area and went down. And you can see again, it came up to this area and went down a little bit, came back up to this area again and went down. So these are points where you have multiple rejections. But for this point, you only have like one rejection right here. So we might not need that one. We don't even need that one. So let's just focus on these 3 lines. Now you can see right here, this is the current level of the market. So let me just draw something right there so that you'll be able to see it. So you select your brush, just come right here. So this is the point right here. So this is the current position of the market. Now, how do you know where to set your take profit and your stop loss? So let's assume that we want to long this trade. What I always advise you to do is to put your stop loss at the nearest support below where you want to enter the trade, and put your take profit at the next resistance above where you want to take your trade. So you can see right here, we are entering the trade right here. So if you are entering the trade right here, the next support to it is this one right here. So this is where we have to put our stop loss. So you can see this point right here, this level is where you put your stop loss. Anywhere on this level is where you should put your stop loss. And this level right here is where you should put your take profit. And the reason is because this is the nearest support to this level where you want to enter your trade. This is the nearest support right here. And the reason why you are putting it right here is because in case this market should go against you, let's say for example something happens and the market is going down rapidly. Now if the market is going down, maybe it goes really down, you know, it can happen like that. It has happened a lot like that. So instead of you losing so much money, you can just lose little amount of money at this next support line area. So the reason why you're doing this is because you want to limit the amount of money you might be able to lose. I hope you get it. But let's for example, you have more risk appetite. Maybe you don't want to put your stop loss. Maybe you think it's too close. There are some people who will think maybe this is too close. So maybe in case you don't want that, you can set it to the next support area below it. So for the next support area, this is it right here. This area right here. This is where you have like this next support area, because you have a rejection right here. So this is a rejection. So that means you can still use this line as a support area, but it just have one rejection, but you can still use it. So if you want to use this line right here, that means your stop loss will be set to this area. So let's say for example, you want to lose just little, you can put it right here. But if you have higher risk appetite, maybe you don't mind losing this much, then you can put your stop loss to this point. But your take profit should be on this point right here, this next resistance area. There are some people who might want to put it to this next resistance because we have one resistance right here. You can see we have rejections right here. Because of these rejections, some people might want to put their take profit right here, but maybe this profit might be too small, so you might not want to put it at that point. So let me remove it. But if you put it at this point right here, then it's still a good point to put your take profit. So what your stop loss, which is very important, your stop loss, always set it to the nearest support line or the support area. So is either this or you set it to this. I hope you get it. So that's like one of the best ways you can set your take profit and stop loss as a beginner. So let me delete all of these drawings and then we'll put our long position tool. So I'll just put the long position tool to see how much you can potentially make from this trade in case we enter. So I'll just select the long position tool right here. So once I select it, I'll come right here and put it. So you can put, let's put it to this point first. Let's put at this area and then let's put our take profit to this point. Now, what does this mean if we make this trade? Now, you can see this point right here is showing you 0.9%, and right here it is showing you 1.6%. So let's say, for example, you are doing futures trading and you use 10x leverage. If you want to know how much you will lose or how much you will make, just multiply this percentage by 10 or by the leverage you are using. So if I'm using 10x leverage, that means for this stop loss, if it gets to my stop loss, I'm losing 0.9 times 10, which is 9. So that means I'm losing 9% of my money. I hope you get it. But if you put it at this take profit level right here, it means you're making 1.66 times 10, which is about 16% profit. So you can see for this kind of trade, you'll be losing 9% and you'll be making 16% profit. That's this kind of trade. But let's, for example, you put it to this point right here. Maybe you're this kind of person that you have higher risk appetite. Then that means that for this stop loss, you'll be losing 1.59 times 10, which is about 15%. So you'll be losing 15% of your money, and the take profit can still be the same. Or maybe if you want to move the take profit higher, move it to the next resistance, which is this one. And the amount of profit you'll be making is 2.69 times 10, which is 26% profit. So if you're using this kind of thing, you already know that you are making more than you will lose. So you can see right here, for this one, we are making 26% profit and we are losing 15% of our money. For this second one, if you want to set it to this point and your stop loss to this point, the take profit, you are making 16% profit, and the stop loss, you are losing 9%. So you can see it's a good way to set your take profit and stop loss. So that's the first way to set your take profit and stop loss. That is using your support and your resistance levels. Now, the second way to set your stop loss perfectly is to use your risk to reward ratio. Now, we have different risk to reward ratios. We have 1:2, 1:3, 1:4, 1:5, 1:6, and so on and so forth. Now, what is the meaning of this risk to reward ratio? Now, let's for example, you are using 1:2. Now, 1:2 means that 1 is your risk and 2 is your reward. So this means that if you are taking a trade and you are losing $1, that means your take profit will be set to make $2. So that means that for whatever you are setting your stop loss to, your take profit should be times 2. That's just the meaning. So if you set your stop loss to lose maybe $50, that means that your take profit must be set to make you $100. That's for 1:2. But for 1:3, 1:3 is still the same thing, but it's just like for your stop loss that you are setting, your take profit must be set to ×3 of your stop loss. I hope you get it. So if your stop loss is to lose $50, that means that your take profit will be to make $150. That's $50 times 3. That's for 1:3. I hope you are getting the calculation. So it's the same for 1:4, 1:5, and so on. But how do you set that right here? So you select the long tool. So this is the long position tool right here. You select it. So in case you don't know how to do all of these things, I'm making a TradingView tutorial very soon. So once the video is out, make sure you watch it so that you can learn how to use TradingView very well. So once you select the long position tool right here, come here and put it on the chart on the last candlestick. Just put it right there. Now, if you put it right there, you see where you have this risk/reward ratio 1. So you can see it is 1 right here. That means it's like 1:1. Now, if I increase it, let me increase it to where you are, maybe to where you give us 2. So if I increase it to where you give us 2, so you can see this risk/reward ratio is 2. So that means that it is 1:2. So if I increase it to maybe where it will give us 3, let me increase it to 3. So this 3 means 1:3. That's just the meaning. I hope you get it. So let me set it to 1:2. Let me start with 1:2. So I'll bring it down to where it will give us 2. So let me just bring it to where it will give us 2 right here. So you can see risk/reward ratio is 2. So what this means is that if I enter this trade right now, I'm losing 1.3% and I'm making 2.59%, which is times 2. So this means that if I use 10x leverage for this kind of trade, that's, don't forget, I said 1.3, whatever percentage is yet multiplied by your leverage. So that's 1.3 times 10, which is 13% loss. So that's 13% loss for stop loss. And then for this take profit, which is 2.59%, so 2.59 times 10, that's 25.9%. So that's the profit I will be making. So you can see that even the stop loss is set to the area where I said you should set it with your support and resistance. So it's between this support line and this support line is between it. And then the take profit is at this resistance line right here. So you can see that it is still working hand in hand. So you can see it right here. So if you can combine both, you can use both to pick a perfect way to set your take profit and stop loss. And for me, I believe 1:2 is the best risk to reward ratio to use. If you're using like 1:4, 5, 6, and so on, I don't like that. Or maybe 1:3. 1:3 is still good. If you use 1:3, your take profit should be somewhere here. Let me check it. I think somewhere here, yes. So this is risk to reward ratio 3. So that means your take profit will be set to this price and your stop loss will still remain the same. So I hope you understand this logic of setting take profit and stop loss. So you can even see that the trade is even moving in the direction. So if this trade moves up to our take profit, we make profit. If it moves to our stop loss, we take our loss and we move on. So these are the two ways you can set your take profit and stop loss like a pro, even if you're a beginner. Now, before I go, there's something I want to show you. Now, what I want to show you right now is something that will help you avoid losing money back to back. Now, let me set it back to 1:2. So 1:2, let me just set it back to 1:2. Now, let's assume that we have entered this trade and maybe from here, it starts to go up and maybe it came down again to this point and maybe it starts to go up again. So I'm just assuming that it's going up and down. Now, let's assume that maybe as it's going up and down, then it gets to this point. Now, if you have a trade that gets to this point, you can see that you've made quite some profit, but it has not gotten to that your take profit level yet. What you should do is to move your stop loss up. For some people, once they are in profit like this, they will be happy, not knowing that the market can still move down. And the market can even move down from this point and go and enter your stop loss and you will lose all your money. That means that all the profit you're seeing, you've lost everything. And to see the percentage you've made, let me move it here. So at this point, that's about 1.5 times, let's assume 10x leverage. So 1.5 times 10, that's 15% profit. Out of the 26% profit that you have to make. So 15% profit is still good. So just move your stop loss to a higher price. That is a price at which you can make money. And then you can see that we entered at this point. So let me just draw a line right there so that we can take note of it. So you can see we entered at this point. So what I would advise you to do is to move this long position tool, move it higher and move it to somewhere on this point, somewhere above the entry price. Just move it somewhere there and then move your take profit back. And then move your take profit back to where it was originally meant to be. So our take profit was originally meant to be at this point. So right now your new stop loss will be at this point. So your new stop loss will be at this point, which is already higher than the time you enter the trade or the price you enter the trade. So this means that even if the trade should come down, so let's assume that the trade should come down to this point right here, you've already made profit. Even if it comes down to this point, you've made profit. And the reason why you've made profit is because this was the price at which you entered, but it stopped at this point. So increase your stop loss, move it higher. You can move it higher than the price you entered the trade. Let's say it went to this point right here. Again, you increase your stop loss. You increase it again, move it higher. You can move it to this point. You can see maybe to this point right here. That means your new stop loss is this point right here. So this is your new stop loss. So you can see right there that even if it comes down again, so let me move it. So even if it comes down again from this point and come to enter your stop loss, you've still made profit. You've made about maybe 15 or 16% profit right there. So this is one logic or one skill or one secret that you can use to make sure that you're not losing your money back to back. Even when you made some profit from an ongoing trade, but that trade has not entered take profit, use this strategy or this secret to make sure that you are not losing your money. I hope you get what I'm saying. So that's how you can set your take profit and your stop loss like a pro in crypto trading. So whether you're a beginner or you've been trading for long, apply this in your trades and I'm very sure you will start making consistent profit. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.